Hey guys, welcome to another video. Hopefully you're not new here, but if you are, my name's Jaden and I'm currently studying dentistry at the University of Bristol. If you're not new here, welcome back. Thank you very much for all your support and hopefully you'll enjoy this video. Now today we'll be going over the key aspects to make your personal statement unique, as I know this is a time where people are starting to write personal statements, although it's a bit too late for the early applicants, which I'm really sorry about, that have already sent off their personal statements to unis that are doing dentistry, medicine or applying to Oxbridge. Timestamps will be in the description as always, so feel free to skip around the video to whatever section suits you most. But this video will be structured in the structure that's shown on the screen right now, which starts off with me explaining the context of a personal statement, why you need to write one, myself and my story, and finishing on all my points that make a unique personal statement stand out. So before we start, I want to stress that this video applies for both year 12 and 13 or even younger, as I'll be talking about examples you may want to use when getting inspiration to write your personal statement or for ideas you may want to do in the future. Now let's start off with explaining what a personal statement is. And a personal statement is essentially an essay which showcases the best aspects of yourself, your achievements and your goals. And this statement should be written in a formal style which has a maximum amount of 4,000 characters, so that includes any punctuation or spaces, which are all 1 character each. And I'd say, other than the predicted grades and your admissions tests, I believe that personal statements are single-handedly the most important aspect of most people's application to university. Everyone applying to uni will send out their personal statement to their chosen unis, and the universities will basically read them and decide whether to give you an offer or an interview offer depending on what course you're applying to and what university you're applying to. So now a little bit about myself and my story of studying dentistry. So as you know, I'm a first year dental student at the University of Bristol, and it's quite known in the medicine/dentistry fields that personal statements are very important, as getting offers to any universities are extremely hard and the chances are quite low. So getting a good personal statement is really key for success. Every uni which read my personal statement gave me an interview offer, and I also got my 5th choice offer, which is for biomed. I spent a lot of time trying to perfect my personal statements, so I feel quite experienced in this field and feel like I've learned a lot from it and want to share it with everyone who watches this video. So as a disclaimer, all this advice is either coming straight from me or from somewhere I found on the internet, such as the UCAT website. So hopefully you enjoy this video and learn something useful. Remember to subscribe and like the video to show your support, but let's get into it. So starting off with your motivation and why you chose to study your course that you're applying to. Your motivation is a really good and easy way to make yourself unique, as most people's why for studying the course will be different to other people's. Everyone will have a different reason for wanting to study that course, so make yours as truthful and as memorable as possible. So to do this, you obviously need to work out why you want to study the course. You can think of anecdotes, use personal examples, and you may even want to start off with a quote which will hook readers in. And I know that quotes can be hated or loved by teachers, but I know people who've started off with quotes that have gotten into Oxford and Cambridge and other great unis like that. But it's all up to you in the end, so you choose what's best for you. Throughout this video, I'll be giving hints about the sort of subjects that I talked about when writing my own personal statement. So for the motivation, I personally talked about what drew me to dentistry through work experience and my exposure during this experience. And then I related this to all my reasons and personal interests that I had developed along my journey. If you want to, you can buy my personal statement on my new website, which is my name, jadenyi, and then .com, which is the personal statement that I use to get my offers from universities. Now that being said, you don't want to copy anything, as this has to be 100% truthful, but maybe take inspiration from it and take ideas which may interest you. So now moving on to personal achievements and talking about what you've done personally which will attract the reader. And in this category, you should make a list of every achievement that you have, whether this be big or small. It may be working in a team or maybe completing a group project together. And you should think about any transferable skills that this included, such as communication, teamwork, leadership, things like that. And another thing that I really stress is to don't leave out any difficulties or failure that you may have faced. If I were an interviewer, I would love to see what struggles the student has faced and to see how they overcame these. And it's really important to place yourself in the shoes of the reader and think about what they might find interesting and important. Now for work experience, I would note down any memorable experiences that you have during work experience that you may do. And it's really important to, whenever you mention work experience, to talk about firstly what you learned and secondly how you reflected upon the whole thing. It doesn't really matter what experience you may have, but the interviewer only cares about what you've learned and what you think you've gained from that experience. Again, don't leave out any difficulties which you may have faced during this work experience, whether that be watching someone break bad news or feeling helpless in a high pressured situation. Show off your knowledge, try to incorporate key words that the interviewer looks for, and be prepared to be tested on these words or tested to define things that you may have mentioned if you get an interview. I talked about my dental work experience in orthodontics, general practices, and surgery, where I showed everything which I learnt and how I reflected on the whole process. Now for volunteering, not everyone will do this, but it is quite similar to work experience in the way you write it. Show off what you learnt, how you felt, how you would have done things differently, talk about memorable experience, give anecdotes again, do all of that stuff, and talk about any skills that you may have developed, improved, or learnt. But you should always relate this back to the course you want to do. So for example, you probably don't want to include how you learnt so much about swimming for a course in engineering. I talked about my volunteering experience in a charity shop and talked about the skills that I developed and learnt from it and how I'm still trying to improve upon all those skills to this very day. Now we'll move on to extracurricular activities. Again, this is quite similar to the work experience and volunteering bit, but you maybe also want to show your dedication and how you're determined to keep a healthy and balanced lifestyle, which all interviewers look for. And to do this, you may want to give a range of hobbies or general activities that you do to relax. If you have a unique experience, then definitely write about this. But if you have any failures, that's even better, and talk about how you overcame them. And if you're still trying to overcome it, talk about how you're actively trying to improve upon this. And including this in a personal statement makes it feel a lot more authentic and genuine to the reader, which in turn makes it more memorable. I personally talked about how I've been playing tennis for a long time, how I've played in tournaments, matches, how I've played piano as well, and link this to all the skills I've developed to show my interest not just in education, but how I keep and maintain a balanced lifestyle. Now, the final point I want to talk about is about research and any extra research or things you find interesting that you may want to talk about. And further research outside of course content is a really great way to impress the reader and to make yourself really unique and memorable. Remember, everything that you mention in your personal statement, you can be tested on. So everything you mention, make sure if you're having an interview that you do your research before it and you know everything about that subject. This stops people from lying and saying they've done research when in reality they haven't done any. A nice trick that you may want to use is to mention a few keywords or concepts that you're already interested in and then learning about it in much greater detail nearer the time of your interview. Everything you mention though has to be 100% truthful, so don't mention anything that you're not interested on or anything that you won't do research on. I personally talked about two main courses which I took, which included embryonic stem cell research in terms of dentistry and chemistry in restorative dentistry. By using the idea of placing yourself in the reader's shoes, imagine you're deciding between two applicants that have similar work experience, similar volunteering, similar motivations, and you're really struggling to decide, but one of them has included a lot of extra research that they've conducted outside of the course content. So extra research could definitely help benefit you in being chosen and being more unique, as not everyone will spend the time and effort that it requires to do this. So in conclusion, personal statements are a way to sell yourself to an interviewer, to make yourself stand out from thousands of people that also want that university place in your course. It's a short but sweet story about why they should choose you, and therefore you should make every single word that you mention count. A reminder again that you can purchase my very own personal statement on my website, which I use to get my offers for university. And even if you're not studying dentistry, I'm sure you'll still find many examples and many good ideas or pieces of inspiration which you may stem other ideas from. I also do personal statement reviewing if you want to send me your personal statement, where I can review it and give you detailed feedback and give you certain sentences or words to improve your statement. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down in the comments below. I try to read and reply to all of them, so don't be afraid to ask anything, as I'm happy to give you advice. So if you found anything useful, please consider liking the video and subscribing for more future content like this. Hopefully I'll see you again, but even if I don't, I'm wishing everyone who sees this the best of luck in everything and anything you choose to do. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.